What if punishment wasn't cruelty, but a mirror? What if the monster didn't arrive because people were bad, but because they stopped caring? What if fear wasn't the opposite of joy, but the consequence of forgetting why joy mattered in the first place? Krampus is not a villain born of rage. He is not driven by greed. He does not crave power, wealth, or recognition. Krampus arrives only when something has already gone wrong. In Arc 3, we've explored different forms of coldness. First, cold logic, the calculated realism of Hans Gruber. Then, cold emotion, the resentment and isolation of the Grinch. Now we arrive at something darker. Moral coldness. Krampus is what happens when a society loses its warmth and refuses to notice. This is episode 13 and third part of Arc 3, The Winter Paradox. This is Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil, one story at a time. Krampus does not burst into the story with spectacle. He emerges from snowstorms, from darkness, from silence. In the 2015 film, Krampus is rooted in ancient Alpine folklore, a shadow figure meant to punish children who abandon gratitude, humility, and empathy. But this version modernizes the myth. Krampus doesn't target children for being naughty. He targets families for being hollow. The Engel family isn't evil. They're impatient, self-absorbed, disconnected, consumed by resentment, materialism, and personal grievances. Christmas, once a symbol of unity, becomes a battlefield of sarcasm, entitlement, and emotional neglect. And when young Max loses belief, when he tears up his letter to Santa, the invitation is sent. Krampus doesn't invade the house. He is summoned by the collapse of shared meaning. There is no single crime, no unforgivable act. The turning point is collective. A family that no longer listens. A home that has forgotten kindness. A holiday reduced to obligation and consumption. Krampus arrives not because they are sinful, but because they are spiritually empty. Krampus does not want chaos. He does not negotiate. He does not explain himself. His goal is simple: enforcement. He punishes those who abandon the moral fabric that binds communities together. Not to redeem, not to educate, but to restore balance through consequence. Reframe Krampus does not see himself as evil. He sees himself as necessary. In his worldview, if joy is taken for granted, it disappears. If kindness is ignored, it dies. If belief is mocked, it collapses. Krampus exists to remind humanity that meaning must be protected, or it will be taken. Krampus represents a fusion of moral realism, retributive justice, and communitarian ethics. His philosophy is ancient, but brutally clear. 1. Moral realism. Consequences exist. Moral realism argues that moral truths exist independently of personal feelings. Krampus embodies this idea completely. It does not matter if the family feels good. It does not matter if they justify their behavior. It does not matter if they mean well. Their actions have consequences. Intent does not erase impact. In Krampus's world, morality is not flexible. It is enforced. 2. Communitarian ethics. The group over the self. Krampus punishes collective failure. Not one villain, not one scapegoat. Everyone shares responsibility. The parents, the children, the relatives. This reflects communitarian philosophy, which argues that individuals are morally accountable to the health of their community. When selfishness dominates, the group collapses. Krampus is the reckoning. 3. Myth as moral law. Unlike Hans Gruber, who manipulates systems, or the Grinch, who withdraws emotionally, Krampus is the system. He is myth made flesh, tradition enforcing memory, fear preserving meaning. His bells are warnings, his chains are consequences, his presence is inevitability. The counterpoint to Krampus is not heroism, it is restorative compassion. In the film, Max realizes too late that belief isn't about fantasy, It's about connection. Unlike Krampus's rigid justice, restorative ethics argue that people change through understanding, communities heal through empathy. Punishment without redemption breeds fear, not growth. Krampus offers no second chances, and that is the tension. Is justice still justice if it leaves no room for mercy? Krampus confronts us with uncomfortable truths. 1. Holidays. Expose moral cracks. Celebrations don't create problems. They reveal them. Stress, resentment, entitlement, and neglect surface when expectations clash with reality. Krampus is not about Christmas. He is about what happens when ritual loses meaning. 2. Fear as a moral teacher. Historically, myths weren't meant to entertain. They warned, they disciplined, they preserved values. Krampus reminds us that societies once used fear not for control, but for cohesion. 3. Warmth requires maintenance. Joy does not sustain itself. Empathy must be practiced. Traditions must be lived, not performed. Communities must be nurtured. Without warmth, winter wins. Is Krampus evil or a necessary guardian of forgotten values? Unlike Hans Gruber, he doesn't exploit corruption. Unlike the Grinch, he doesn't resent happiness. Krampus judges absence of care, absence of gratitude, absence of belief, and that is terrifying. Because it means the monster doesn't come from outside. He comes from neglect, philosophical expansion, retributive justice. Krampus embodies pure retribution, wrong behavior, punishment, no negotiation, no context. History shows us the danger of this mindset. Justice without mercy hardens societies. Punishment without compassion creates fear. Fear without hope destroys trust. Krampus enforces order, but at a terrible cost. Krampus teaches us something chilling. The coldest villains don't want power. They want correction. He is not chaos. He is consequence. In the winter paradox, we've seen 3 truths. Cold logic exploits systems. Cold emotion isolates hearts. Cold morality destroys compassion. Krampus is not the absence of love. He is what arrives when love is neglected. And maybe that's the warning. Winter doesn't kill warmth. People do. So what do you think? Is Krampus a villain or the final line of defense when humanity forgets itself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If this episode made you uncomfortable, that's the point. This is Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil, one story at a time.